These peaceful fields once witnessed some of the bloodiest moments in American history. Today, we compare Civil War battlefields then and now, and see how time changed them. Please check out the original websites in the description. Massive boulders on Little Round Top provided Union soldiers cover during Gettysburg in 1863. Today, the same rock formations still dominate the hillside. Sharpsburg's Lutheran Church was damaged during the Battle of Antietam in September 1862. Today, the restored church remains a prominent landmark in town. Union soldiers built strong defenses on Culp's Hill during the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863. Today, the breastworks and battlefield landscape remain largely intact. Fresh Union graves surrounded Burnside Bridge after Antietam's bloody fighting on September 17, 1862. Today, the historic bridge remains one of the battlefield's landmarks. Union soldiers occupied trenches along Virginia's North Anna River during the 1864 campaign. Today, traces of the earthworks can still be found nearby. The Sheeds House sheltered Union soldiers after Gettysburg's first day of fighting in 1863. Today, the historic structure still stands along Chambersburg Pike. Fredericksburg suffered extensive destruction during the Civil War in the 1860s. Today, rebuilt streets and historic landmarks occupy the former battleground. Gettysburg's triangular field below Devil's Den saw fierce combat during the battle in 1863. Today, the open field remains part of the historic landscape. The Leicester House served as General Meade's headquarters during Gettysburg in July 1863. Today, battle damage can still be seen around the historic property. Lee and Gordon's Mills stood near heavy fighting at Chickamauga in September 1863. The original building burned, but a replacement stands there today. The David Reel Barn served as a Confederate hospital during Antietam and was struck by Union artillery. Today, the historic barn still stands near Sharpsburg. Federal Napoleon cannons stood ready at Gettysburg during the battle in July 1863. Today, artillery pieces still mark important positions across the field. Gettysburg, Pennsylvania witnessed the Civil War's most famous battle in July 1863. Today, much of the battlefield remains recognizable to visitors and historians. Union and Confederate troops clashed near McPherson Farm during Gettysburg's opening day in 1863. Today, the pond and surrounding landscape remain easy to recognize. The Stone House at Manassas, Virginia, served as a hospital during the Battle of Bull Run in 1861. Today, the historic building still stands beside the battlefield. Confederate prisoners stood on Seminary Ridge after Gettysburg's opening day in July 1863. Today, the ridge remains one of the battlefield's key locations. Dr. Otho Smith's farm became a hospital after Antietam's devastating battle in 1862. Today, the property survives as part of the historic battlefield landscape. Sudley Springs Ford in Virginia was near the fighting during the First Battle of Bull Run in 1861. Today, the historic crossing remains part of the preserved battlefield area. Cumberland Landing, Virginia served as a major Union supply and troop landing during the 1862 Peninsula Campaign. Today, little remains of the wartime encampments. Devil's Den at Gettysburg was strewn with bodies after fierce combat in July 1863. Today, the rocky battlefield is one of Gettysburg's most visited sites. Union graves covered the Cedar Mountain battlefield after the Confederate victory of August 9, 1862. Today, the battlefield is largely preserved near Culpeper, Virginia. A Confederate soldier lay dead near Devil's Den after Gettysburg's fierce fighting in July 1863. Today, the rocky ground remains recognizable, despite changes over time. At Chancellorsville, Virginia, Stonewall Jackson was mortally wounded by friendly fire on May 2, 1863. Today, the wooded site remains preserved within the battlefield. McPherson Farm became a battlefield and hospital during Gettysburg's opening day in 1863. Today, the restored farm remains a key historic site. The slaughter pen below Devil's Den was covered with casualties after Gettysburg in 1863. Today, visitors can still identify the exact location with ease. A fallen Confederate soldier lay in Gettysburg's slaughter pen after heavy combat in 1863. Today, visitors can still recognize the rocky terrain around him. Richmond, Virginia fell to Union forces in April 1865 after years as the Confederate capital. Today, modern development surrounds many surviving historic sites. Brompton Plantation became a hospital after Spotsylvania's brutal fighting in 1864. Today, the historic home still stands near Fredericksburg, Virginia. The Bryan House on Cemetery Ridge was damaged by Confederate artillery before Pickett's charge in 1863. Today, the restored home closely matches its wartime appearance. Dunker Church stood at the center of heavy fighting during Antietam in 1862. A storm destroyed the original in 1921, but a reconstruction stands there today. Farley Plantation served as Union General John Sedgwick's headquarters during the winter of 1863-64. Today, the mansion survives as a privately owned residence. The Moore House at Yorktown suffered damage during the Peninsula Campaign in 1862. Today, the home and surrounding area have been carefully restored. Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia, was where General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant on April 9, 1865. Today, the restored village remains a major Civil War landmark. Knapp's Battery occupied this ground during Antietam's fierce fighting in 1862. Today, the area sits near the Battlefield Visitor Center and touring route. Dead artillery horses surrounded the Trossel barn after Gettysburg's brutal fighting in July 1863. Today, the famous barn still stands beside the battlefield. The Grove House hosted Robert E. Lee's War Council before Antietam in September 1862. Today, the historic Sharpsburg home remains standing. Redoubt No. 5 helped defend Nashville during the Battle of December 1864. Today, the surrounding landscape has changed, but the earthworks still survive. Little Round Top's steep slopes helped Union troops hold this key position at Gettysburg on July 2, 1863. Today, visitors can still climb the rugged hill. Two Confederate soldiers lay dead in Gettysburg's slaughter pen after intense fighting in 1863. Today, most of the distinctive rock formations remain recognizable. Fort Sumter, South Carolina, came under Confederate fire on April 12, 1861, beginning the Civil War. Today, the damaged fort survives as a historic landmark. Confederate soldiers lay dead in Antietam's Bloody Lane after fierce fighting on September 17, 1862. Today, the historic sunken road remains largely unchanged. The Ray House at Wilson's Creek, Missouri stood during the Battle of August 10, 1861. Today, it remains the only surviving wartime dwelling on the battlefield. Little Round Top saw intense combat during Gettysburg on July 2, 1863. Today, many of the same landmarks visible from its summit can still be seen. Devil's Den and the Valley of Death were photographed just days after Gettysburg in 1863. Today, many of the same rock formations remain visible. A fallen soldier rested among the rocks near Devil's Den after Gettysburg in 1863. Today, the same rocky landscape appears peaceful to battlefield visitors. Soldiers of the 91st Pennsylvania built rock defenses on Little Round Top during Gettysburg. Today, many of the same breastworks remain visible. A Confederate sharpshooter was photographed among the rocks of Devil's Den after Gettysburg in 1863. Today, the site remains one of the battlefield's most visited areas. Confederate dead were photographed near Gettysburg's Rose Woods just days after the battle in July 1863. Today, the wooded area remains a quiet part of the park. Confederate soldiers awaited burial near Rose Woods after Gettysburg's bloody fighting in July 1863. Today, the battlefield landscape remains largely unchanged. Little Round Top dominated Gettysburg's southern flank during fierce fighting in July 1863. Today, the hill remains recognizable, despite changes to nearby roads. McPherson Farm saw heavy combat as Confederate troops attacked Union lines on July 1, 1863. Today, monuments and open fields mark the historic battlefield scene.